are the Man United fans going to abandon ship here? Is this the point where they stop being a super club and they start being like Spurs? You know, once great thing, or maybe Arsenal for the last decade. These are the Arsenal. Or this is Liverpool circa Roy Evans.
Why would they abandon ship now? I mean, there's nothing different that's happening now within the last 9 years, really. But I tell you...
Well, the distance from glory gets longer and longer and longer.
Well, not necessarily. I tell you, Eric Ten Hag was never hotter than he was on Saturday night when the dance floor was packed at that wedding, because there was so much on the horizon. It was a beautiful night. It was like, tomorrow's the start of a new era.
Fred the Red, the high five. That's that's going to be the abiding memory of the...
And it could be. Alex Ferguson, I saw The Guardian this morning, we're doing column on the last first matches of United managers. Alex Ferguson's first match.
Like, I mean,
2-0 defeat to Oxford.
I was going to put
2-0 loss to Oxford in the league.
I was going to tweet that on Sunday, but like, well, remember the little-known statistic that Alex Ferguson's career got off to a slow start.
It's absolutely true. So look, this can happen, and maybe in many ways, Eric Ten Hag starting 11 against Brighton and Hove Albion was a protest 11. Sure.
We've seen.
So maybe this is for the greater good in the grand scheme of things, that it will be. This will be used as a reference point 6 months down the line, 12 months, 18 months when they're challenging for the title. Do you remember the nadir of the opening day of the 2022-23 campaign? And look where we are now, guys.
Yeah, I actually
way to look at this.
I think that there's probably a little bit of truth in that. The remedial work that's going to happen on the squad will be swift and relatively brutal. When you consider the amount of players who left over the summer, the dressing room must be a much smaller, younger, more interesting and vibrant place. They just need some people to come in who aren't stinking the joint out, like Cristiano Ronaldo, who have some confidence, unlike at the moment Jadon Sancho, for example, who doesn't look like he's got confidence. It's not just Marcus Rashford who's suffering. So, but as a Man United fan, how does it feel?
Well, there wasn't anything too surprising. I mean, this same United side...
It's very surprising. You can't say that. No, that's not true.
This same United side lost to Brighton as recently as May.
I know.
Comprehensively. It was actually an improved defeat.
Yeah, but that was Ralph Rangnick, who was phoning it in, apparently, who was a terrible...
Well, according to Ten Hag, did a terrible job. Of course, Ten Hag refused to meet with Ralph Rangnick in the off-season, refused to take on board all his... the minutes that he audited over the course of his 6 months at the club. So...
No, it's just, look, there's a few key personnel need changing, because if you actually write down your starting 11 for United, like I was challenging you to do with Arsenal the last couple of weeks twice, and you named your starting 11, and they won, if you actually name it, it's not so bad, the United 11. But it just depends on the combination.
What's your 11 right now? Say everybody's fit.
Everyone's fit.
Yeah.
And it's Rabiot and Arnautovic included.
We'll give you them, yeah.
Thanks very much. Okay, they're on the team. So De Gea in goal. Left back is Shaw. Right back's a big problem. Right back's not talked about enough. Like a huge issue. Like
there's a lot made of how crap Wan-Bissaka is. In fairness,
I'd probably just go Delo, centre half. I'd try Varane and Martinez and leave out Maguire.
I mean, that's the obvious thing to do here, isn't it?
I'd leave out Maguire. I really would.
Are we a couple of weeks away from that, do you think?
No, I think he'll persevere with Maguire because of the fact, that he's actually retained him as captain. I think Ten Hag will think that, this doesn't look great in me if I've backed him as captain and I'm going to drop him after the game.
Why did you back him? Why? Like, it was the one thing that he made very clear. It was even more clear than the Ronaldo situation a few weeks ago, where he was like, Maguire's my captain, and
I was surprised
that he was underrated.
I was surprised. I actually really did think he was going to go in a different direction with captains. Now the problem is at Manchester United, and actually at a lot of clubs, is that there's probably an absence and a paucity of leadership, individual leadership in the teams. I mean, Martin Odegaard wouldn't strike you as a leader per se, but obviously, he's a great player, and he's also the captain of Norway. But I suppose he just about sticks out among everyone else. And with United, you're thinking, if it's not Maguire, like the whole issue was Ronaldo really wanted the captaincy last season and didn't get it. So then you're thinking De Gea.
Yeah, De Gea.
Like that, he's not exactly inspirational either.
They've got to get rid of De Gea. They've got to get rid of Maguire.
I take Maguire out of the team. And then the midfield is a massive problem, like a huge problem. So Rabiot probably starts, and you're nearly getting Eriksen to play as a deep-lying holding midfielder.
Fred is gone.
Yeah, I'd Fred and McTominay just for at least for a while, lads. At least for our
not even one of them. Like, is the problem sometimes not just that they're both on the pitch? And
they're actually. Do you know what? Statistically, as a duo, they're not so bad historically.
Yeah.
But it's just, I suppose, it's more that they're the symbol of what's gone wrong the last couple of years. And often, look, they're vilified unfairly, but they were poor at the weekend. And I do think that they need to be removed from this team so this team can move forward. So I actually would have Ericsson in a deep lying role. Rabiot next to him. I mean, I'm unconvinced as I say it. And then maybe Fernandes the head of that three. And then
that's
the front
a fun midfield. Rabiot, Fernandes.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, 100%. It's not exactly what you call reliable in a tough match. But then, in theory, it's a great footballing side.
What did you call it, on?
Lean into the banter era. Like that's the point of.
And then the front three would be definitely Jadon Sancho. There's a hell of a player in Sancho, as we well know, if he has a bit of confidence.
Is there a hell of a player?
Oh yeah, he's definitely.
Yeah.
I thought last season.
There is, I think.
Other great players who've arrived with massive reputations from the Bundesliga. Timo Werner, yeah, come on down, Timo.
No.
Beside Jadon Sancho.
Don't bring Timo into this.
Why aren't they playing him? He's so great. England, why aren't they playing Jadon Sancho? He's amazing. Wait until you see what he does. He's going to rip it up in the Premier League. Is he? Is he? Did he? Is he?
No.
What if he's a bust?
You just said a moment ago he's short on confidence, which I think is the truth.
Yeah, that's
maybe you don't get it back. You don't. There's no guarantee. Like, it's not a. You can't plug it in. You can't recharge it.
I know you can. I mean, you can work. You can work on
so far. It's absolutely. Jadon Sancho is a bust. He is now trying to come back from being a bust.
I don't think he's a bust at all.
He's 100%
I don't think so.
He's a complete waste of money so far.
No, not in comparison to the rest of the United players. That's what you have to go by. Comparatively, he is not a bust. He is not a bust.
That is not who you have to go by. You've got to go by all of the other signings that have been made in the Premier League in the period of time who cost something similar in terms of that amount of money. He is a bust.
He's not. He just hasn't taken off. He's not a failure. He had moments last season. Chelsea away. He was very, very good in that game. I'm telling you, need those little moments.
That's what it is. It's a mirage.
But you're talking that you have to.
I'm
put
not
in the
saying his
context
entire
of this United
career
side.
is going to be a bust, but so far he is a bust.
He's not.
There is no ifs, ands, and buts. He's
not a bust.
Okay, you're still a fan. You have not advanced.
No, I'm not. I'm not. I'm looking at it as objectively as I can.
You're not.
There's a hell of a player in there. I'm telling you, he comparatively to say Marcus Rashford, who has completely gone under.
Where's your evidence for that?
Chelsea last season away. It's one game, and that's actually sufficient.
So
you have to put in the context
of that game
this
for
United
those of us
side.
who weren't watching Chelsea, Manchester United last season and don't remember the ins and outs of Jadon Sancho's brilliant performance, which is the.
I never said it was brilliant. It was good.
Well,
it was good.
How much did they spend on him?
It was 80, I think, wasn't it? In the end, look, I think bust is way too strong.
At
too
present,
strong.
he is a bust.
No, he's like a 6, 7 out of 10, and his capability of being an 8 or 9.
Is he a 6 or 7 out of 10?
He's not like he's had.
Mr. Dependable Dennis Irwin, 7 out of 10.
He's had games where he's been quiet.
Give me Dennis Irwin week in, week out instead of that guy.
No. I'm talking from an attacking perspective. He is. Like, Sancho is definitely not a problem at United, and you have to put it in the context of this current United side. I'm not saying Sancho gets into the 07-08 team or 98-99, nothing like that. But, lads, like, you're looking around for attacking options for Manchester United, and Jadon Sancho is not a problem. Put him in the team.
He is a problem.
That's not an issue. The problem we have on the other side is Marcus Rashford, who hasn't played well in an awfully long time, and then we're putting way too much emphasis on Anthony Martial, who's consistently proven that he's inconsistent. And then we have the only option at centre forward is a guy who does not want to be there, and the club don't want him. So it's a huge issue, the final third. The final third and right back, huge problems. Centre mid, you can actually change centre mid. Not exactly a convincing midfield, but you can change it.
Can I just ask on the Sancho question? What do we expect him to be when he comes good? Do we expect him to be a goal-scoring right forward, or do we expect him to be a traditional right winger who'll be getting assists? Because if you go back to one of his top scoring Bundesliga seasons, 19-20, he was third top scorer that season. He scored 17 goals in the German league. In second place was Timo Werner with 28, and at top was Robert Lewandowski with 34. But obviously you're not comparing like with like there. Like, he scored more goals than Weghorst that season, more goals than Haaland. That was only Haaland's, I think, only maybe half a season that year. But do we expect him to be somebody who can score 17 goals in a domestic season again, basically like a Mo Salah-esque goal scorer? And
I would have said Sadio Mane. Right? Isn't that what he's supposed to be?
I would have thought so. I would have thought that if you're
Sadio Mane. No, I would say, I think that's a good question. I think more assists than goals, but I would like to see him chip in with. like kind of flirting with double figures with goals, but definitely assists would be well up there at top of the league, like top 3 assists in the league is what I would expect from Sancho. And I actually think it's
Part of that
unfortunate
problem.
I actually think Sancho playing with the club that he started with Manchester City, I think he'd be sensational in that kind of system under Pep Guardiola, because Sancho is a player who thrives under detail, and hopefully over time that Erik ten Hag can actually get that out of him. I have huge hopes for Sancho if they get a bit of confidence
if
into
he
him.
gets it out of him, he is recovering from the situation where he is now a bust.
He's a bust by association, but not as an individual player. He's not having that at all. He's really not that bad.
Okay, so you still have hope. Where are Manchester United going to finish this season, Colm?
5th.
Who's going to finish 6th?
Your lad.
I actually don't think that that's a surprising take. Like, I mean, everybody's like, "Oh, look at this guy coming in and trolling." I don't think there's. I think I can see Arsenal not delivering on some promises well after stewing on the fat.
Well, where would Arsenal fall short? What would be the problem with Arsenal? Because they've started very well and they have improved their squad.
Some
midfield,
off-field issues, perhaps.
Yeah, midfield. I think that was an issue last season, even when everybody was fit. And Arsenal being Arsenal, but I think the most surprising element of that, there's 2 things that need to happen there for Manchester United actually to be good enough to finish 5th, and then also for Arsenal to falter, which I think the second part of that is not that surprising. But for Manchester United to go and put a run together with a team that looks like the one they have now and come 5th, that's an okay return.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like, is there an overreaction to the Brighton game? No, not really, because it follows a pattern. But can Ten Hag change it? And I think he can. But lads, it's not going to be pretty. Like, I don't think we're going to look back in this season with any great joy either when it comes to the end of it. But I do envision an improvement along the way. Like, he's not going to consistently lose at home to a side they should be beating. Like, he will improve the squad. But 5th almost by default, though. Like, because I don't think that there's like
8th.
More than 4 sides better than United.
8th.
Who? 8th?
They could easily finish 8th.
Who's 5th to 7th?
5th by default is a bit strong now.
Yeah,
5th by default is like complete.
Newcastle,
Newcastle
at the moment.
like
no,
Manchester United entitled.
Newcastle could finish ahead of them easily. So Spurs, Chelsea, Liverpool,
Chelsea, 3rd
Manchester
and 4th,
City.
yeah.
Right?
There's definitely 4 teams.
There's 4 definitely better. Arsenal could easily finish ahead of them. West Ham are going to finish close to them.
No.
Potentially.
No.
I mean, how good are Brighton going to be for the rest of the season? I'm not sure.
Do you think they get a point at Brentford this weekend?
Yeah.
They'll win that game.
I think they'll beat Brentford, and then they'll lose to Liverpool, and then it'll be okay. 1 from 3. Is that the international break? No, it's much later, isn't it? This
September,
season,
I think, yeah.
Late end of September. So yeah, they've a good few games into the international break. They'll probably be 50-50 record going into winter, and so there'll be no strong take from United. It's probably February, March onwards, you're looking for a strong end to the season. But like you were going through, like West Ham, Newcastle, I don't even think you believe that when you say it.
I don't believe that.
You know, like,
very good chance Newcastle finish ahead of Manchester United this season. We've had this conversation.
I think that conversation. I think at the end of last season it would have seemed reasonable, but Newcastle summer hasn't been as impressive as I expected it to be.
Yeah, Eddie Howe's done a great job there, but it's funny for a league that's so strong and so many great individuals, best league in the world and all that. There's actually a lot of poor sides. And I think that there are only basically a handful of sides better than United, and that's not saying much for the league.
We'll see.
Absolutely, we'll see. That's
the whole
point. It's the joy of it. We will see.
The Manchester United team that you're giving credit for as like better than that side and that side and that side, it's like, well, where are they? Where have they been? Where are those results coming from? Like, everybody is breaking their duck at Old Trafford at the moment. Villa broke their duck at Old Trafford in the last 2 seasons.
But where I'm talking about United finishing is roughly where they have finished for the last 9 years. And that's at least. So, and it's like a better squad now than it was at times in the last few years. So, I don't think it's an outrageous take to say that they're going to finish 5th or 6th. It's not a better squad.
The squad has not been improved. This summer, how has the squad been improved?
Well, how has it been worsened?
Well, Paul Pogba left.
But Paul Pogba apparently was the big issue. So wasn't that an improvement?
Well, so you're not believing that. You don't believe that. You're like saying that.
But I don't. How is it weakened?
Has it weakened by the fact that there's far less depth there now than there was? I think that they needed to get rid of those players for various reasons. They were underperforming.
Yeah.
But that's not to say that a good manager wouldn't have been able to come in and get something out of Paul Pogba, who was influencing games.
I think that the really big issue is centre forward now, because I don't know what they're going to do with Cristiano Ronaldo. I feel like he might leave on deadline day. Be one of those ones where they terminate the contract on deadline day.
Go to Sporting Lisbon, right? That's what.
Sporting, yeah.
Well, your point about Sancho, you want him to get like 15 assists a season.
Who's he going to assist?
Who is he going to assist? And I think that is part of that issue as well.
Definitely, yeah. And look, Arnautovic maybe.